If you are a fan of the heavyweight division in boxing, then this card is going to be a card for you because we have four, maybe even five really good heavyweight fights on this card. But the main two that we'll be covering on this one will be Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius, who stepped in the last moment. And then we'll also be talking about Filip Hrgovic versus Dempsey McKean, which should be a pretty good fight too. Before we get into those, welcome back to All Takes No Ifs. I'm Alex and that's Christian. And like I said, this is a big heavyweight card, and I'm honestly really looking forward to getting into it.
I think the craziest thing about this is Robert Helenius just won a fight the other day, basically. And since he was untouched, got to step in, get a nice little check against Anthony Joshua. And it's good to see AJ back in the ring. Unfortunately, things didn't pan out. And now he's fighting Robert Helenius, though, but at least he's able to fight. Because remember, there was talks about just Hrgovic being the main event on this card. That didn't
That
sound
wasn't
too
too
good.
enticing.
Yeah, no, but got AJ on the card, so that's definitely going to do numbers. But I feel like obviously the numbers aren't going to be like too serious to keep track of since it's not a pay per view fight anymore. So it's just a matter of how many free watchers are going to be watching. But AJ's still probably going to get a good guaranteed bag. So
Yeah, and I'm sure when Helenius got the call, he was ecstatic, honestly, because he's probably going to get a pretty nice portion of it too. But this is honestly going to be, I think, a pretty easy, not easy fight for Anthony Joshua, but
yeah,
it should be a pretty easy fight for him. And even though we've kind of seen him struggle in the past, I think he's kind of on a better path now. But what do you think about this fight?
I think this is going to be telltale sign of where AJ's at in his career. Probably lost if he doesn't perform well in this card and completely dominate. Be it at the same time, that could definitely happen. He's coming off of two losses before the Jermaine Franklin comeback against Alexander Usyk. Who knows if he's the same AJ? But I feel like that question isn't a question that's going to be raised much against Robert Helenius. It's a matter of AJ at his core is definitely a way better boxer than Helenius.
Oh yeah, and well, the thing that is kind of interesting with this fight though too is he's pretty much got to throw his whole game plan out now and come up with a new one because I mean this
Mm-hmm.
is coming up on a week notice. He was planning for Dillian White for the second time, so that's just kind of interesting. He just got to scrap everything and pretty much come up with a new game plan 4 days, 5 days before this fight.
Yeah, true. And the thing is, I don't even want to gas up get Dillian White like that. Saying that I don't want to say Helenius is a downgrade, to be honest, because we
It's
Dillian
about
White's
the
track
same.
record. He's not. I don't want to say he's elite. Definitely don't want to say Dillian White is elite because I'd just be lying if I said that. But Robert Helenius, we know what happened to him against Deontay Wilder. That was kind of
Very quick.
not his best showing. So if AJ wants to be considered on the level of Deontay Wilder, I think he's kind of got to match it.
Oh no, and I totally feel you on that. But let's go ahead and get into our predictions for this fight. So, who do you think is going to be coming out on top?
I think Anthony Joshua is going to win this fight, and I think he is going to stop Helenius. Not like the way the old Anthony Joshua did, but I think he's going to, the ref's probably going to step in after he overwhelms Helenius. I just don't think AJ does have the power to knock the lights out of somebody, but like I think the way he really gets his like his best stoppages is when he's like throwing in volume and just overwhelming his opponents with volume and power. So what round do I want to say? I would have to say round four. Around 4 KO for Anthony Joshua. That's what I'm predicting.
Oh, that's pretty
No,
early,
no,
to be
no,
honest.
no, no, no. Round three. I'm going round three.
Okay, even earlier. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go around three, dog. This is all due respect to Helenius, but this man fought last week. The day after that fight, he was probably,
It only went three rounds.
yeah, true, but he was probably like letting loose, like, okay, I just got over this fight. Then gets the call after, like, I don't know, like residual hangover. No,
Yeah,
uh,
he might be in pretty good shape still, to be honest. But I mean, I think AJ is going to get a stoppage too at some point in this fight. I think it's probably going to be around the sixth round. You never know. Helenius may be in pretty good shape still if he didn't get touched
yeah.
up too much. And AJ may, coming into this only 4 days, 5 days of a game plan, may need a little time to figure him out. So I don't see AJ really having too much difficulty with this fight. So hopefully it's a 6 round stoppage and I get it right.
Yeah, hopefully one of us could get it right, but either way, we're both rocking with AJ bars. But as far as the next fight, Filip Hrgovic versus Dempsey McKean, this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup right here, I guess. Filip Hrgovic, if you ask me, kind of on fraud watch right now. So even though that's the case, he's 15-0 still, 12 KOs. But honestly, my boy Zile Zhang, he won that fight, if you ask me. And honestly, Hrgovic really wants us to know that it was just a bad night for him. So he has a chance right here against Dempsey McKean, and I'm just I'm not too big on Hrgovic right now, but at the same time, I do see where his talent can be.
And it's very interesting too because he doesn't even need to take this fight, to be honest, because he's already the mandatory challenger to the winner of Usyk and Dubois later this month. So he really doesn't even need to take this other than to stay active, and that's pretty much where this is kind of going. Because Dempsey McKean, yeah, he's a top prospect in Australia right now, 22-0 and 14 KOs, but there are levels, and I think Hrgovic is a little more on the world level, and I don't think McKean's there yet. He has a solid record, solid boxer, but Hrgovic at the end of the day, I feel like it's just going to overwhelm him and probably knock him out at some point. But I don't want to get into my prediction yet, really. But I just think it's very interesting that Hrgovic is kind of taking this fight, and even though he doesn't really even need to.
Yeah, he may not need to, but maybe he just needs to get his get his head right on in a big stage, I guess, before going into world title contention. So I don't know if I want to give him the benefit of the doubt yet after that performance against Zhang because that was not good, definitely. But if he could really bounce back in this fight, I could give him a fair shot, I guess. The only thing is probably gonna have to face Usyk then. And think about it. How do you feel about Hrgovic versus Usyk? Just off the top of your head.
I don't think it'll go very well for Hrgovic, to be
Yeah,
honest.
that, that,
Let
that
me let me correct myself too, real quick. He's the IBF mandatory, so Usyk is the one who has that belt. So I mean, obviously he'll be the winner of that fight, but it's Usyk who has it right now.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to Usyk versus Dubois too. But Hrgovic being in line for that winner, so being in line against Alexander Usyk. If Usyk has to fight the mandatory, that could always he could always go a different route. But before we talk about that route, Hrgovic needs to get back past McKean. And as far as my prediction, I do think that Hrgovic is going to win this fight. I think he's going to have a decent showing. I just don't want to say yet if he's going to change my opinion on him. So I think Hrgovic is going to win this by. I'm just going to say by decision. I think he might just try to fight a clean fight.
I can definitely see that. Like I said earlier, I think he's definitely going to stop him at some point. I think Hrgovic is definitely going to do it. Probably, I would probably say mid rounds. I'll go with an eighth round stoppage for him, and I think he's going to look a lot better than he did against Zhang.
Yeah, true. And then it's like obviously styles make fights, different opponents. You can't really base this fight completely off of last fight, even though definitely didn't look good. He might look like the greatest fighter of all time against Dempsey McKean. We don't know yet, but
I don't think McKean is as good as Zhang either.
yeah, no, he's not. And honestly, though, yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight as well. I would say for the two headlining fights, it's a decent two fights to headline a card, but as far as the other heavyweights in this card, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the one I think is a little more serious at first. You got Johnny Fisher on the undercard. He's undefeated with all of his wins, but one being by KO at this point. Fighting Harry
Solid
Armstrong.
prospect.
Yeah, and no KOs for his opponent. So honestly, that's I think that's a little comfortable. I don't think many boxers go up against guys with no KOs. But at the same time, you got the unserious name. All due respect, you got Derek Chisora on this undercard. Really looking forward to seeing what he does in this fight because this man should not be fighting anymore. It's so crazy that he's still fighting.
Oh, it is, but hey, he's going in there. He's probably gonna get a nice little paycheck too. So hey, who cares? Honestly, be nice to see all these guys in the heavyweight division. Though this would be a really nice card. There's honestly some really nice cards. Other than this one too, on Top Rank and on Showtime this weekend that we'll also be previewing. So make sure you check that out. Hit that subscribe button so you know that when we drop those. And also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give us a like, because we'll appreciate all support in any way possible.
Any and all support is definitely appreciated. You guys come through and check out next week when we recap this card. It's definitely going to be an eventful card, and looking forward to talking about it next week. But until then, peace.
Peace.